If Jordan Addison doesn't have time for the women on Venice Beach, he damn sure doesn't have time to hear the people of Pittsburgh bitching about why he left. 2 LA soccer teams, 2 big additions, 2 big questions they're going to have to answer. And how would you react if your enemy beat your ass like a steel drum at a reggae festival? Well, we know how the San Francisco Giants would answer that. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is August 6, 2022. We got to get to work. We got a lot to talk about. If you like the content we've been putting out about LA sports for the last 5 months, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new clips. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment, because it's going to get lonely in the airport. Love to hear from some of you guys. Now, before we get started with the news, we're going to take a quick look at the scoreboard. Take a moment. Do you hear that off in the distance? That's the sound of Padre fans shutting the hell up. Remember all the big trades? Oh, they're a super team now. I guess not. Dodgers roll out to an 8-0 lead. Tony Gonsolin improves to 13-1. Dodgers 8, Padres 1. Dodgers with a 13.5 game lead in the NL West. Meanwhile, in something called the WNBA, at the Atlanta somethings defeated the Sparks 88-86. The Sparks are 12-20. The top 8 teams in the WNBA go to the playoffs. Sparks are number 10 and falling like a rock. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers will play the Padres again at 7. That's Andrew Heaney, 1-0, with a 0.77 ERA, going up against Mike Clevenger, 3-3. The Galaxy, they're going to go to Sporting Kansas City. Big game for the Galaxy. They have won only 1 time in the last 13 games out in Kansas City. And we're going to talk about the addition for the black and gold in a moment. But meanwhile, LAFC is going to play Real Salt Lake at 7 tonight. USC wide receiver Jordan Addison finally addressed all the drama that came about as a result of him transferring from Pittsburgh to USC. And I have to tell you, it's hilarious how chill he was. Really. Because people that he had known for years over in Pittsburgh, people he trusted, his own coaching staff, all of them were just selling him out in public. And he kept his yap shut. And even when he finally talked about it, whether it was a coach, whether it was a local media, whether it was the beta males out in Austin, Texas, he just was chill. The answers were extremely mature. For example, he says he hasn't reached out to his former coaches in Pittsburgh regarding the accusations of tampering. Whatever they had to say, they can say it, he says. Really? I did not have that level of maturity when I was in my early 20s. You talk that kind of crap about me, there's going to be a split lip. He was cool. I mean, then they talk about him coming to USC in the first place. The Trojans, like they did for a lot of recruits, they wanted to come up with a lot of fireworks and hoopla and pretty girls. Jordan Addison was like, I don't need any of that. Where's your film room? And the coaches sold him on USC on strategy and how they were going to use him. Craziness how mature he is. And then, of course, he also said he talked with Carson Palmer, who the former quarterback for the Trojans, who unretired the number 3 so that Addison could wear it. Quote, I'm just going to make sure he knows he put the number on the right person. If this kid is legitimately this chill, his draft stock, which is already high, is going to go through the roof. This is the absolute anti-diva compared to a lot of wide receivers in the NFL, I'm telling you. Meanwhile, Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma with a parting gift. One of the reasons he came to USC? Lack of resources. Guess what new coach Brett Venables is getting? You're welcome, coach. You've got all the resources Lincoln Riley didn't have. Sometimes you got to wonder about Oklahoma, man. I'm telling you. Dennis Bouanga signs with LAFC from a team in League Two over in France. Now, he is the third designated player for the Black and Gold, along with Carlos Vela and Brian Rodriguez. Now, Bouanga spent his entire career in France. There are pluses, obviously, to having him there as a striker. He can literally play anywhere along LAFC's front line, either wing or center forward. But, as we mentioned, questions that LAFC is going to have to answer. The Athletic correctly asks, isn't this a logjam of forwards? Somebody's got to go to the bench. Are you going to bench Carlos Vela? Oh, hell no, you're not benching Carlos Vela. Are you going to bench Gareth Bale, the European superstar? Of course you're not. And so then what are you saying? Bench Christian Arango? The guy with 9 goals who leads your team? So where the hell does Bouanga fit in? And by the way, Brian Rodriguez, the other DP, where does he fit in? Is there going to be enough minutes to go around for these guys? And oh, by the way, I mean, when you start talking about it, maybe, do you really want to bench Christian Arango? He's also the only true 9 on that roster. Now, if you say maybe you have to move or bench Rodriguez, I'll listen to that argument. But if you're an LAFC fan, yeah, you're excited about all this firepower, but you already had firepower. Who's going to sit the bench, and are they going to be happy with it? Meanwhile, with the Galaxy, there's mixed reactions to the addition of Ricky Puig. One guy calls it potentially one of the best signings in MLS history. And on the other hand, GMs are off the record talking, and they're wondering if this signing is legitimate. They don't want to go on the record because they might get fined or suspended. But when Puig was over with FC Barcelona, he was worth tens of millions of dollars. He is not going to make tens of millions of dollars with the Galaxy. So what are we talking about here, right? Now, as for where he's going to play, we're starting to get a little bit more of an idea. Some see him as a quote-unquote 10, which means that he will be playing in the midfield, center midfield, just in front of the 2 defensive midfielders on the Galaxy, Gaston Brugman and Mark Delgado. So the thought process is the defense basically will feed it up to Puig. Puig will start taking off, trying to create something for the other forwards. See if the Galaxy can actually generate some more offense. Clayton Kershaw is back on the IL. Now, this is the second time this year. The first time it was for an injury in the sacroiliac joint. Now it's lower back pain. An MRI was conducted yesterday. It revealed no new findings, which apparently is about as close to good news as the Dodgers are going to get on the situation. Chris Taylor came back off of the DL, or I should say the IL last night. He says his foot is 100%, and relief pitcher Tommy Conley is targeting an early September return. But there was a thing that I didn't get to discuss in yesterday's clip that I really wanted to bring up. During the time when the Dodgers were playing the Giants, Harlan Garcia, a relief pitcher, he basically tried to mock the Dodgers. The Dodgers, like many teams, they have this little silly hand signal of some sort whenever somebody does good, like it's a double or a home run or something. For the Dodgers, it's a fist to the head. Don't know why, don't really care. So Garcia started to mock the Dodgers by doing this. Next inning, Trey Turner goes bombs away, and the entire roster on the Dodgers goes to the Giants like this. Know who you're mocking, guys. You could try to act like Joe Kelly did in Houston, but there is only one Joe Kelly. You are Harlan Garcia. You don't have a ring. Kelly does. You're not in first place. The Dodgers are. Know when you're supposed to talk the poop. What really kind of was hilarious was how the Dodgers claimed that they were confused after the game that Garcia was pissed. They didn't know why. Oh, I know why. The Dodgers whooped their asses like it was a fetish video for 8 consecutive games. That's why the Giants were getting pissed. ESPN's Dave McMenamin. That's a great name. McMenamin. Kind of sounds like an over-the-counter medication, but I digress. Having trouble feeling regular? Have some McMenamin. Anyway, he is a NBA insider. He says that all signs point to LeBron James extending his contract with the Lakers. Also, as a side note, there are 3 trade rumors about Russell Westbrook, but who gives a damn? It's all clickbait junk. There is a belief on the Chargers that safety JT Woods is not understanding the defense yet. Having said that, he's a rookie. The coaches are not souring on him. Also, Brandon Staley says that with the offense in year 2 under offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, it's, quote, a much more confident unit than it was a year ago. We're able to call a much larger menu of plays for the guys, which may be true. But the LA Times has noted that Justin Herbert isn't throwing to J.C. Jackson's side of the field. So are you really opening up the playbook if he's not even throwing it on your own defense? Questions. Matthew Stafford for the Rams did actually throw footballs earlier this week on Thursday. That was the first time he had thrown a ball in about 3 or 4 days. He's been dealing with elbow tendonitis. They're just basically trying to baby him along through the preseason. Meanwhile, the battle for number 3 wide receiver is on with the Rams. So we can already mention, we already know that Van Jefferson is out. We already know that Jacob Harris is out. Jefferson with surgery, Harris out for a couple of weeks. We don't know when they're coming back. We have mentioned as possible shots at getting the number 3 job as Tutu Atwell and Ben Skowronek. But I haven't mentioned special teams expert Brandon Powell, and that's on me. See, Powell used to play in Detroit, where his quarterback was Matthew Stafford. Caught 6 passes from Matthew Stafford in 1 game, and that kind of matters. You know, the Rams are big on 3 receiver sets, as we already know. So there is playing time. Lots of playing time. Do the winner of the battle for the number 3 wide receiver. The Clippers' Reggie Jackson says he likes what he sees from Kawhi Leonard's workouts. There's no timetable for Kawhi Leonard's return, however. The Athletic is reporting that Leonard is expected to at least participate in a couple of preseason games. So there's that. I don't necessarily know what to think about Kawhi Leonard. Besides, it's not really my concern. Not while the Dodgers are steamrolling everybody. But you tell me what you think. There's a lot of stuff to talk about these days in LA sports. Now, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something for LA sports. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.